Guys, section 7.4 is going to be called partial fractions. All right, normally, if I gave you this, what we would need to do is we'd rewrite this with common denominators. We can clean it up and write it as a single statement. So let's start with that, writing common denominators. So make it a little bit bigger so I can fit stuff on it. All right, so my common denominators can be both of these. So I'm going to put an x plus 2 on the top and the bottom of my first one. And I'm going to put an x minus 3 on the top and bottom of my second. All right, I'm going to distribute. Over x plus 2, x minus 3. All right, clean up the top. I'm going to get x plus 7, and I'm going to FOIL the bottom. I get x plus 7 over x squared minus x minus 6. So, to get common denominators, I put x plus 2 over x plus 2, x minus 3 over x minus 3. Then I'm going to do the math across the top, get x plus 7. I'm going to FOIL the bottom. You don't have to FOIL the bottom. It's just going to come into play next. All right, we get that. That's what we've known before. All right, next, we're going to go the other direction. I'm going to give you that answer that we just had, x plus 7 over x squared minus x minus 6. And what I'm going to ask you to do is take it apart. We're going to write it as two fractions. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factor and get x plus 2x minus 3. All right, I'm going to write two fractions. I'll put x plus 2 underneath my first one, x minus 3 underneath the second one. And what I'm looking for is a value, which I'm going to call a, that's going to go over my x plus 2, and a value b, which is going to go over my x minus 3. All right, so next, we're going to get common denominators again. All right, so I put an x minus 3 in the first one, x plus 2 in the second. All right, and now what I'm going to do, it makes it a little harder being here. All right, I'm going to write the equation across my numerator. I'm going to write x plus 7 equals a parentheses x minus 3 plus b parentheses x plus 2. All right, what I'm looking for and what I'm trying to solve for are a and b. All right, so what we have to do is, to be able to solve for a, I need to get rid of all these x's and the b. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a couple values of x. All right, the values of x I'm going to pick are the zeros. So I'm going to pick -2 and +3. And I'm going to go through in all these x's. I'm going to put -2. Doing that, this b piece is going to disappear because that's b times 0. So I'm going to have 5 equals a -5a divided by -5, and I get a to be -1. So I picked a value of x that would make this back piece disappear because -2 plus 2 is 0. My b is gone. All right, now I'm going to use 3. I'm going to put a 3 into all my x's. Do my math. Again, the good part is my a cancels. And I get b to be 2. So I'm going to write my answer. My two factors. My a value is -1. My b value is 2. And that's my partial fraction. Because if I look back to here, it's the same thing I have here, just written in a different order, which doesn't matter. So we're going to factor. We're going to put one factor underneath a, the second factor underneath b, get common denominators, and write the equation across the top. After we get that, we're going to pick two values of x, which are going to be the zeros of our denominator. We're going to substitute them in, and it's going to tell me what my a equals and my b equals, and I replace a and b with those two values, and I get a solution. All right, that's partial fractions. All right, let's look at number 3. Again, factor. All right, I may be going quicker than you at some point. If I am going too fast, pause it so you can work it out yourself. All right, my first fraction is going to be an x minus 3. My second fraction is going to be an x minus 2. I'm going to put an a on the top of one of them, a b on top of the second. Next, I'm going to get common denominators. X minus 2 and x minus 3. And then I write the equation across the top. 1 equals a parentheses x minus 2 plus b parentheses x minus 3. I'm going to pick two values. I'm going to pick positive 3 and positive 2. I'm going to substitute them in. My b's cancel. I get 1 equals a. There's one answer. Now I put 2 in. A's cancel. I get negative 1b equals 1. So I get negative 1 equals b. This is b times negative 1. All right, so I'm going to write x minus 3 plus x plus 2, or minus 2. My a value was 1. My b value was negative 1. All right, that's a good answer. I'm okay with that. But a better answer, we normally don't write, we don't add a negative fraction. So I'm going to write it 1 over x minus 3 minus 1 over x minus 2. And that's probably the best answer. That plus a minus fraction, make it a minus between the two. Questions, concerns, or why am I asking that? It's a video. If you have them, you can email me. All right, just out of habit. All right, number 4, same idea. X plus 5 over 2x squared minus x minus 1. All right, so I'm going to factor the bottom. A lot of us would go through all these steps, but we're going to make this a little bit better. All right, these are two prime numbers. So in the front of each parentheses has to be an x, in the back has to be a 1. That's the only way I can break these down. All right, this minus sign tells me it's a plus minus. So I'm going to play with this. I'm going to make this one positive and this one negative just as a try. Do my FOIL, negative 2x plus x. Oh, I got what I needed. Okay? If you have to go through all the steps of FOIL, that's fine. One way or another, be able to FOIL this. If you can see it without showing all your steps, I'd accept this one. If it was a 12 and a 10, you're not going to be able to probably go straight to an answer. You're going to have to do all the steps. But if it's an easy problem, and I truly believe you can factor this in your head, go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm going to do a over 2x plus 1 plus b over x minus 1. All right, pause it if you want to and do the problem, and check it and slowly work through it, and I'll come behind you. Common denominators. So now I have x plus 5 equals a parentheses x minus 1 plus b parentheses 2x plus 1. We're going to pick two values of x, negative 1/2 and positive 1. All right, that's going to become my 0. I'm going to leave this as 4.5 equals negative 1.5 a. All right, if I can't do this easily, let's make this 4.5 equals negative 1.5 a. If you're making it improper, it's still going to work. Divide by negative 1.5. I get a to be negative 3. So I'm going to say negative 3 over 2x plus 1 plus my b value, which is 2 over x minus 1. So we get common, we factor, put a over one factor, b over the second factor, get common denominators, and then you're going to work with, that's ugly, there you go, the equation on the top. Pick a value of x, which are your zeros, and that's going to give you each of these. All right, try number 5. I'm going to slowly work it. So pause it, give this one a try, and we'll go from there. All right, so I factored x plus 3x minus 3. So we've got to know our fraction. It's a very important concept for this lesson. So I put a over 1 plus b over the other, get common denominators, and I get my equation. So I put in a 3. I get 9 equals 6b. Divide by 6. I get 3/2. I put in negative 3. Nine equals a negative 6a. A equals a negative 3/2. So I'm going to put negative 3/2 over x plus 3 plus 3/2 over x minus 3. All right, so this is what we have so far. We should recognize that this can't be a good looking, this isn't a good looking answer because we never leave fractions in fractions. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor out something where you have a couple options. The fraction's the issue, so what I'm going to do is, this is 3 over 3/2 and 3/2. So I'm going to take out a half out of both of those pieces, which would leave me with a negative 3 over x plus 3 plus a positive 3 over x minus 3. So that's probably a better answer. Another option is I can take a 3/2 out of both, which would leave negative 1 over x plus 3 plus a positive 1 over x minus 3. Another good answer. These two are probably better, or much better answers than this one. All right, so just when you're working with the WebAssign, if they don't like this, try this. I mean, the idea. Hopefully they'll take one of those two, but I don't think they're going to want it with fractions in your numerator. All right, so there's one more problem. I will come in class and do this one. If you get to this point and I'm not in class yet, go ahead and open up your WebAssign homework and do some of the simpler ones. Anything like this, a little more complex, go ahead and hold off on that one.